Hi all, a very good morning. This is VC from VC's Academy. In today's class, we will discuss about homologous organs and analogous organs. This is one of the important concepts in chapter evolution. Homologous structures or organs. What are homologous structures or organs? You can see here the example which was given, like the four limbs of human, cat, whale and bat. Structure which are similar in their morphology, anatomy, genetics and embryology, but dissimilar in their functions are called homologous structures. If you see the image here, all these are considered as four limbs. That means the limbs which are present front, and these all will help in, if you look the structures and all, these all are similar, but the function what they do is different from each other. That is why it is called as structurally similar but functionally different. Structures are inherited from a common ancestor. They have similar developmental pattern in the embryos. They have the same type of bones, blood vessels, nerves, muscles, etc. These structures, what we are talking like the homologous structures, are inherited from a common ancestor and they have similar developmental patterns in their embryonic stage, and they have the same type of bones, blood vessels, nerves and muscles. Even though they are having the same type of structure and the bones, blood vessels, nerves, muscles, etc., but they differ in their movement or function. They differ or they have dissimilar functions in different animals. The relationship between homologous structures is called as homology. So when we talk about the relationship between the homologous structures, we define it as homology or term it as homology. The evolution of homologous organs is termed as divergent evolution. So homologous structures can also be called as divergent evolution. Analogous structures or organs. What are analogous structures or what are analogous organs? Sometimes animals belonging to different groups live in the same habitat. When we see the environment around us, we find many different group of animals or plants or like fishes and all live in a particular habitat which is similar for them. They lead a similar type of life. So they lead a similar type of life, but this leads to the development of superficially similar structures to lead a similar way of life. This type of environment and this type of habitat creates or develops superficially similar structures to lead a similar way of life within the organisms which are present in that particular habitat. As these animals belong to different groups, anatomically the structures are different. If we observe them anatomically, they are different, and these all belong to different groups. These structures which are superficially similar but anatomically dissimilar, doing similar functions, are called as analogous structures. So as I mentioned, the structures which are superficially similar, that means which appear to be the wings, all if you see here, they all appear to be similar like the wings, but if you observe the anatomy of it, each and every organism which we have seen here will have different structure in their anatomy. So this leads to call them as analogous structures, and the evolution of analogous organs are termed as convergent evolution, whereas homologous is called as divergent evolution. Coming to the major differences between homologous structures and analogous structures, I have tabulated it. Homologous structures versus analogous structures. Homologous structures are similar in anatomy. If you observe the anatomy, all the homologous structures are similar in their anatomy, and if you observe the analogous structures, they have dissimilarity in their anatomy. And homologous structures are doing dissimilar function, whereas analogous structures are doing similar functions, and the homologous structures are developed in related animals, whereas analogous structures are developed in unrelated animals. Inherited from a common ancestor for homologous, and it is not inherited from a common ancestor. The structure and origin are similar for homologous, whereas it is dissimilar in structure and origin for analogous structures. Similarly, if you see the developmental pattern, the developmental patterns in homologous structures are similar, whereas it is dissimilar in analogous structures. With all these differences, we can differentiate homologous and analogous structures. I hope you all understood the concept. Thank you.